These are not ordinary times. That's why President Akufo-Addo describes it. This afternoon, the president remains at work to try and find a lasting solution to the coronavirus outbreak as the country enters into partial lockdown of sort. And across the country, schools, including basic, secondary and tertiary institutions, have complied with the directives issued by President Akufo-Addo last night. They've closed down social distancing measures, including ban on church services, meetings, conferences, funerals. Many other activities have all been suspended. Well, this afternoon we'll bring you comprehensive coverage of that development as our country battles to end the spread of, at least contain it, the spread of coronavirus. Shortly, we'll take you to the Jubilee House where the president is meeting leaders of Ghana's pharmaceutical companies. Well, let's go live now to the Jubilee House for more. BROBBEY is our presidential affairs correspondent, and he'll join us with more.
The House appears ready to welcome visitors, but only if they go through their own protocols, and that is either you wash your hands or use the hand sanitizer that they've placed at vantage points, right from the reception area to the main Jubilee House entrance. You go through a hand washing exercise, and when you enter, depending on which office you are entering, you will find as many hand sanitizers as possible for you to now sanitize your hand. And then also, there's a gentleman who will take your temperature before you are allowed access into the main building. So with this protocol, you can say that they've taken the necessary precautions to ensure that people who enter are within the acceptable temperature range, and also they go through either you wash your hand or use the hand sanitizer. That is what has been in place since last night when we came here for the president's second broadcast to the nation.
Right, ELTON, now let's talk about this meeting. And we can see from some of the pictures you have sent through that there's very good space between the people who are seated at this meeting. Tell us, give us detail of the content. Actually, what are they talking about at this meeting right now?
So the picture you are seeing is indeed the seating arrangement, and it's 1 meter apart, 2 meters apart from each other. The initial arrangement was that this meeting was going to take place on the 4th floor. That's the president's office conference area, because of the fact that they didn't come with so many numbers. But because of the security and the health arrangements they put in place at the Jubilee House, they decided to bring it to the auditorium. That's the biggest hall here at the Jubilee House. And we had 2 meters apart from each chair while the meeting was ongoing. The meeting itself was attended by members from the pharmaceutical industry in Ghana, some from the financial sector, and then some interest groups. The meeting has ended. Part of it was behind closed doors. Only the introductory part where President Akufo-Addo spoke about the reason for the meeting and what he expects from the people who attended the meeting. Now, in his introductory remarks, he was quite clear about the fact that as a country, we have depended so much on foreign-made things. And this particular pandemic, the coronavirus, has presented the country with an opportunity to now go into the manufacturing of local produce to, contain or deal with the spread of this pandemic. And that's the more reason why, according to him, he brought together the pharmaceutical people, because this is a health issue, and they are into the importation of hand sanitizers, gloves, and other, pharmaceutical things that have become so essential in our country today. And because we are importing, we are spending so much foreign currency to bring them in. But then they have the capacity to produce some of these, essentials locally. But because they lack the financial, push to go through this, that is why he brought them together. This meeting was also attended by the governor of the central bank, and the President Akufo-Addo's appeal to those from the financial sector was that it will be about time that they channel some of the resources and the money they have to the pharmaceutical industry, so that their capacity can be built for them to go into the manufacturing and the production of some of these essentials. We can listen to the president at his introductory remarks.
An opportunity. They say necessity is the mother of invention, and advisedly so. as we are now, in all of the areas which we need to mobilize to confront this pandemic, especially, we all pray that the measures that are being put in place will prevent that. But were there to be a surge, we have not got there yet, but were there to be a surge in the incidence of this pandemic in Ghana, we would all unfortunately discover that we are very naked to deal with it. So I called you here for all of us to put our brains and minds and hearts together to see a way forward for the future of our country. Whatever decisions are made today are not going to transform the situation today or even tomorrow. But then we are then going to be putting in the building blocks, the platform for the transformation of tomorrow. And I felt that you, the leaders of the pharmaceutical industry in our country, together with some of the leading bankers here, the regulators of the industry, officials of government, and we can come together in this coalition, we can then begin to address these deficiencies in a really systematic and programmatic manner. That's basically the reason why I wanted to bring you here together. The governor and some of the bankers know my constant refrain about the difficulties it is for people to have access to money in Ghana, rates of interest that are necessarily high in my view, and that there is a need for all of us to work collectively to see how our banking sector, which fortunately under his leadership is becoming stronger and stronger, can find a way of channeling monies and resources to some of you here so that you can begin to do things for our health system here. There's a whole range of things that come into play when a crisis of this nature occurs. And the simplest and obvious things, gloves, sanitizers, pads, this, that, you can think of a whole range of things. It would make for a great deal of interest to see in the whole range of things that are involved, how many of those things are made in Ghana and in what quantities that they are made. We can't continue like that. We can't continue. If we want to be a properly functioning country, we can't continue to live off other people's ingenuity and hard work. We have to live off our own ingenuity and creativity and hard work. That is the only way we can build a viable nation. So I'm saying to you, and it's something that I will be saying a lot during this crisis, that it provides us with an opportunity. Not just to wring our hands and say, oh God, how frightening is this phenomenon that has emerged? What are we going to do about it? Yes, it's frightening. It's don't take care, it can even lead to panic. But we are determined to overcome it. And some of the measures that have to be taken are conversations like what I want us to have this afternoon. At some stage, I'm going to ask my good friends here who live with me to leave us so that we can speak frankly. It's difficult to do so in the full glare of publicity. So I mean with you to leave us alone so that we can speak frankly. I believe that we should be focusing on.
That's President Akufo-Addo, who spoke earlier at that meeting before it started. Like you said, the meeting then goes into a closed session. Elton, do we still have you there?
I'm here, Gifty.
Right, Elton. So the meeting you said is over.
Yes, the meeting is over, Gifty. So they have come into some some kind of agreement. I, a few minutes ago, spoke to the president of the chamber of the Ghana Pharmaceuticals group, Kofi Nsiapoko. But he told me that some of the takeaways that they are going with is the fact that they're going to liaise with the Food and Drugs Authority because they have the capacity to produce some of these hand sanitizers, but they need the approval and a certification from the Food and Drugs Authority before they can go into the production. Secondly, they have financial constraints, and if government can fully fund them, they will be in a better position to do so. So going out of this meeting, they've been given the assurance that the financial resources will be made available. They will now work with FDA for them to be in a better position to produce some of this hand sanitizer because the FDA will have to now give them the clearance to do so. So in the days to follow, we are waiting to see how they can fast-track these so that those who are in a better position to produce some of these hand sanitizers can be given the necessary approvals and the certification by the FDA to go into work. The other issue has to do with funding, and that's what the appeal the president made to the financial institutions that were at this meeting, including the governor of the central bank. Gifty.
So very soon we should be hoping for manufacturing manufacturing of sanitizers en masse. Hopefully.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If according to Kofi Nsiapoko, they have the capacity. What they need now is the approval to go into the manufacturing, and then they can start as early as possible.
Right. ELTON, thank you very much. That meeting that ended a while ago at the Jubilee House, ELTON BROBBEY's presidential affairs correspondent with an update for us. Well, if you're just joining in, President Akufo-Addo has been meeting with health industry players. He's also been meeting with financial sector industry players, and the mission is simple. It's to help have a conversation, a frank conversation, as he calls it, out of the public eye to find out what Ghana can do in terms of manufacturing, curative interventions, also including sanitizers, which have become scarce.